I'm facing the most significant financial challenge of my life, which to this point hasn't been very long, but it's been a very nerve-wracking and stressful challenge at that. I still have some major cash flow issues that I'm trying to work out. Thankfully, we're making some very positive steps over the past month and the months preceding that as well, but especially this last month, which I'll get into in a minute. But I'm very much in survival mode right now. At least at the law firm, we have a team of 9 people, including myself, and that's a lot of payroll to meet. And we have a lot of stuff we're trying to do and service, and it's difficult. I didn't expect it to be easy, but it's definitely been difficult. And in a lot of ways, we're very week to week. We are bringing in retainers, which has been great, but then we have to work those retainers and then ultimately collect on it from there. And we have to be bringing in enough new work to keep paying for all of the expenses that are ongoing, both marketing expenses and then payroll expenses. Those are the big ones. This past month, I took out more debt to make sure we'd have enough cash and liquidity to meet payroll and expenses and continue operations as we continue to grow that revenue number to try and get to profitability. But I did have to take debt out to make sure we could keep working towards that goal. I still have further to fall if I needed to, and I could try to take out even more debt if I needed to do that as well. But I don't want to do that, obviously. I want to try and actually start marching forward. It's been a very long year of losses, especially since I lost my big law job almost a year ago now. And that was a major hit to our cash flow. That was our primary source of income. So over this past year, I've been trying to figure out ways to get that back up. And I've taken a lot of aggressive steps to try and do that. We talked about aggressive expansion in the last episode, and some of those steps have been really solid and others haven't been, or maybe they've been a bit premature. And now we're trying to make up for that today. Now, when it comes to the law firm, we brought on a bunch of new people in January, but they weren't necessarily familiar with our processes. And in many cases, the processes didn't even exist. So we're building them from scratch and improving them day in and day out. But we brought on all those new people, and we were throwing a bunch of money at ads, and we really weren't hitting the numbers we were supposed to be hitting if we were running a successful marketing campaign and our intake processes were really where they should be. We were only bringing in about $1 of retainers for every dollar we spent on ads that month, which is not very sustainable when you have a bunch of payroll to bring on. So in January, we only brought something in like $10,000 worth of retainers on about $10,000 worth of ad spend. With that in mind, for February, we put a pause on pretty much any hiring and had everyone start focusing at least somewhat on the intake process to make sure we could convert the leads that we were getting into paying clients. There were a lot of things that we could improve on, and there was a lot of things to learn in that process. And with everyone paying attention to it, we did make some pretty quick steps. For one, we have attorneys helping out the intake staff at any given time. For a while, that was only me. But then we started having our other 2 attorneys help out with consultations by giving our intake staff the information that they needed to give accurate pricing and to confirm how long things might take or whether we could do something in the first place. And because they're helping as well, I'm no longer the main bottleneck on intake. So that really unlocked a lot and allowed us to start closing a lot more clients. At the same time, we tweaked our marketing a bit, and we're continuing to do that to try and go for the clients that we really want to go for and try to avoid some of the less effective marketing channels that aren't really bringing us the return that we'd like to see. And after making those changes, plus a few others, and without really increasing our marketing spend very much, we increased the amount of retainers we brought in to something like $50,000 in February. So it was a huge increase, but it wasn't a 5x in ad spend. So it's been really reassuring to see the amount of positive momentum we've already gained through February and now heading into March as we try to get our revenue up to where it needs to be to cover all of our expenses, payroll, marketing, and then leave something left over for profit to pay down some debt and then also get back to hiring. Our goal would be to get to the point where we're bringing in about $100,000 in retainers and ideally are making close to that in revenue in a given month. So we're trying to do that now with our current team. As the team grows, that number would also grow, but we're really on a great track, especially late February. We've seen a huge increase in the amount of clients that we're closing. And as we continue to prove our operations, I would think that that number would continue to tick up. All of that said, we're really close to turning the corner here to where I won't have to keep feeding more money into the law firm because I don't want to run out of money and then have to bring in even more debt to do that. But I'm really confident that given at least a few more months, we should be able to get to sustainable profits for for the law firm. Now, over on the steam cleaning side of things, we've had some positive developments there as well. The business is still losing money, but under the leadership of the new manager, we just set a new high for the amount of revenue brought in a week, at least since I've owned the thing. So that's been really great to see. He's really only been totally ingrained in the operations for about a month and a half now. So to see a boost in sales, especially during what's supposed to be a rather slow time for steam cleaning here in the Houston area, that is a really great sign. We'll see how long it takes for that one to reach profitability as well. It's very much a season of survival right now, so I'm spending a lot of my time and energy on trying to bring in new business and get that business serviced right away so we can start collecting and get on to greener pastures. And that is much easier said than done. With that said, let's get into this month's net worth numbers. If you're curious, I always include a link to my net worth tracker spreadsheet in the description below if you want to see some more details there. As a reminder, last month our net worth was around $126,000. As always, let's start with the good stuff, the assets. The biggest change here is on the accounts receivable side of things, in that I've added my estimated federal tax refund. I think it'll actually be quite a bit higher than this because we had so many business losses last year, and anything that I was parking aside while I was working my big law job, I think I'm going to get just about all of that back. So I guess that's a nice positive. My interest-free loan to the government shall be coming back soon. I also wrote off some of the balance of the business loan here, and I do expect that to be closed out very soon. One thing I was pleasantly surprised by was my cryptocurrency balance, which I only checked basically for the purposes of this series. It popped up quite a bit as I was considering selling it off to move it into the law firm. So I had a nice gain there. I'm probably going to just take it now and move it into cash and then move that into my law firm so we have some extra liquidity. So thanks for that. Bitcoin's up over 50% over the last month, and I had no idea.
Always, guys, respect the pump.
When it comes to the cash situation, I do have a bit further to fall here. I do have my IRA balance, which I could tap into. By no means do I want to do that, but I know I have that there. I have the cryptocurrency I just mentioned. I could probably pull some money out of the HSA as well to pay for some previous medical expenses, although probably not a whole lot, at least without penalty. So I do have some options and further room to fall, but I don't want to do that, and I don't think it'll be necessary given the progress that we're making over this past month and into this coming month, but we'll see what happens. I could also try to take out some more debt if I need to. Again, that is not the goal. But in total, that leaves me with around $1.23 million in assets. And now on to liabilities. The major change here is to my credit card balance. I took out 2 large credit card promos equaling about 25 grand for 0% interest for the next year or so. I think one of them is a bit over a year. So I did do that to make sure that I'd have enough cash to meet payroll while we take in all these retainers that we won't collect on maybe for a month or two. So it's sort of fronting those, and I'd like to think we could pay these down within the next few months if all goes well. I also took out some more money from my HELOC, so that balance has increased as well. So if we flip on over to the debt paydown tracker, it was not a month of debt paydown, and instead was another month of increasing our debt balances. We took out something like $35,000 in debt over the last month and then paid off about $3,000 across all of our other loans just from minimum payments. So that brings our cumulative debt gain up to almost $46,000 in 2024. Not a great way to start, but we'll see how the year finishes. So in total, that leaves us with $1.1 million in liabilities, which means our net worth has decreased down to about $114,000, which is a decrease of about $12,500 from last month. Our debt ratio is back up over 90% at 90.75%, and our passive income remains at $600 per month. So not a great month numbers-wise, but I can't say that's a huge surprise given how things were going towards the end of last month and in the amount of things that we needed to get done this month to try and get things back on track. I do think we're going in the right direction in a major way. Like I said, we took some big steps to try and right the cash flow situation, but it's going to take some time to work out because the hole was kind of big to start with. I'm not sure how much longer it will take, but all I can do is try and keep pushing the ball forward and get to that positive territory. It's my number one focus right now. Above all, I have to say over this past year, and especially these past few months, I've learned a lot about running a business, about actually scaling operations, about hiring people and how to get people motivated. It's been very rewarding from that perspective, and I know that's going to pay dividends in the future because it's a very hard skill to acquire. At least it was pretty difficult for me because it's not really something you can easily practice without just being in there and doing the thing. So until you get that chance to do it, it's a bit hard to get better at it. And I've been really grateful for the extra efforts my team is putting into things, as it's really helped to try and accelerate this positive momentum. But like I said earlier, we'll see how things go. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future updates, and thank you to everyone who supported me along the way across this rather volatile journey it's been. Until next time.